All right, Reverend Crystal Cox. This is some more relationship ramble with some different topics. All right, why would anyone choose to be in a relationship with anyone for any reason if they could be in trouble for anything at all? Is this feeding their trauma, feeding their programs, perhaps? So you're grown up. You're free, right? You got your driver's license, you got an income, you're at this certain point in your life and you're like, oh, I'm ready for a relationship, right? And then you're in trouble. You walk in, okay, where were you? When did you get home from work? Did you pick me up at this store? Did you so instead of two independent people, you're putting yourself subject to being in trouble. And instead of by parents, a lot of times people move into relationships where they're going to be in trouble. My last long-term relationship that I left, I said the one thing I wanted in a relationship, the one overall sentence was to not have or be an authority. I don't want to have an authority, and I don't want to be an authority. In any way, financially, spiritually. Like, I don't want to be someone else's boss. I want them to want to be with me because I'm fun and they're fun and we have fun. Not because they feel obligated to spend time with me or obligated to do something for me because, they want my approval or they don't want to be in trouble or it feeds some sort of program. All right. Someone simply used to coming home and there is another person there bitching at them, complaining, or even having an opinion of some sort of something the other person did affects me going on. Okay, so anything that... So I would go out and do something that I liked, but then when I come home, it's like, what is she going to say? There's going to be some sort of a repercussion, some sort of a... And it didn't matter. It's not about having other lovers. I was, like some of the examples in my head are, long-term monogamous relationships. It's just like, what did I spend my money on? What did I buy? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? But not wanting to go with me either. But when you filter your life through what you think your partner might feel or how they might react, you're not sovereign, you're not being yourself, and you're not creating a world that is, creative and new and wonderful and fun just for you. They're sitting there and their whole life's like, what's she doing? She didn't text me, she didn't call me, she didn't pick the stuff up I wanted at the store, I don't know where she's at, right? So because you're married and you live in the same house and you're monogamous and whatever, then you got to know everything about what I'm doing, who I'm doing, what. Even in monogamy, you filter yourself, your actions. Even the people that think they don't, they still have it in the back of their mind, their partner's reaction. And so people are like, oh, well, it's just nice to consider them. Well, it's nice to consider them, yeah, if it's fun. But if you're doing it because it's some sort of a parental role, then no. All right, why would people rather have that than just come home free and be alone and do their own thing and then connect with somebody when they want? Why do people get married in monogamous relationships and they are not their real selves? They compromise their truth just to be with someone. So they're like, I just want like a warm body around. Some people want someone else to help pay the rent, to help take the trash out, to help do all the chores, and also, maybe help raise kids. But I'm a big fan of parents separating if they're not really, really in love and having fun, because the kids feel it. Kids are highly psychic, highly intuitive. They feel that energy, and it affects them. If you had two different households and you're both with other people or alone and having fun, that's going to be much more joyous on them, and they won't have like long-term post-traumatic stress into their adulthood like I and so many others have had. So, if you're alone and you come home and you don't have to worry about cooking for other people. You don't have to worry about, and even kids, because kids are malleable, they'll have fun with you. They'll be like, oh, let's just eat on this. Let's just, do something fun. But when it's a structured dinner and you have to do all of these things and it's kind of expected of you, some people really enjoy it, but not every night. It becomes this mind-numbing thing. It changes people. Whereas if they just come home and did their own thing, and then they called their lover or partner, maybe they live in a separate house on the property or whatever, and connect when I'm ready to connect. So, you know, I want to do the things that I want to do for me and be grounded in me before I connect with my person, because I want to be with them and have fun and joy and laughter. I don't want to be like the day and the I want to I just want to have fun with another person. Anyway. All right. You could have stayed alone. You could be with anyone. You could move on. But your self-esteem is so low that you think because this person likes you, maybe no one else will want you, or you're all caught up, you know, financially or whatever. And so you stick with them and they control you. Oftentimes this type of person uses sex as a currency. It won't be hot, passionate sex. It will be sex that will give you an orgasm so that you stay loyal to them and do what they say. Otherwise, what's your payoff? Because if you look at like the Carolyn Miss archetypes, like where we prostitute in our lives, this is literal, but like where we give something to someone, what are we getting in return? Even if we don't think we're getting something in return, our programs are getting something. So if we're in monogamy and we don't behave ourselves the way our lover thinks we should, we're going to be withheld affection, love, touch, sex. And if we're good, if we're just good, then they'll have sex with us. But you know, it's just sex. It's not like where if you lived alone and then you met your partner now and then, and you know, or even every other day, and you just had this high passionate connection and dancing and play and making out and laughter, and you had a high intense passionate sex and you're free. But sex as a currency, men do it and women do it. Withholding sex and touch, intimacy, for their partner to behave a certain way, or do certain chores, or pay certain bills, or like if you're good, you know, then I'll want you sexually. Yeah. All right. Once you are stubborn, I think this means one. When you're stubborn and you're independent and fill yourself up. Okay. All right. So be independent, fill yourself up. Don't expect other people to fill you up, and trauma bond with people that you will not be willing to completely become their version of you, so they'll have sex with you. You won't be a controlling. Okay, right. We already kind of talked about that. Okay, with someone that you truly love as an independent person, you will have a higher vibration of connection all the time. And you won't simply have them get you off. I didn't know this was going to be highly sexual. You won't just have them simply get you off as some sort of a currency to pay you for your services and feed into your program so you don't leave them. You know, much, much bigger than just sex. I say I'm your friend, I say I'm your lover, I say I'm in love with you, and I want to marry you and spend my life with you. However, only if your version of me, right, behave a certain way, even if it's a different way than you said you wanted your life to be when we met. And only if you don't say certain people's names, don't talk to certain people, don't see and do things that I don't approve of. Right, so as long as I'm their version of me. So as long as don't talk about certain people. Some people don't like you to talk about exes. Whatever their childhood trauma or their triggers are, programs, they want you to coddle that in order for them to stay. And what's the payoff? Like, what's the payoff for me? Oh, they're just there. Well, to me, in my lifestyle, that's not a payoff. Just have someone just sitting there. Okay, well, I'm there. What? What are you doing for me? You're just sitting there? I mean, I want a lover because I want a lover. Not a lump on the couch just sitting there, you know. So if I have to be a certain version of me for my lover to want me, and it's kind of a big theme in my life. I've, like I said, on the psychic hotline, I counseled people on it. I've spiritually counseled people on it. I lived it. That whole like, oh, is this what you want? You know, and I'll get a kiss or an ass pat or something now and then. Like, but I have to like beg for it, or, you know, we're not hot and heavy compatible, but I'm still kind of prostituting myself, just hanging out in it, won't leave. I'm like that's good enough. Like every few months or a few times a year being, oh, is this what you want? And kissing me. And I stayed in it. I mean, that wasn't what helped me to be able to counsel other people on it. I've always been psychic. I've always been able to counsel other people and see that stuff. Like, if I could have stepped outside of myself and my programs, I would have left my relationships long before I did. But instead, I just became their version of me best I could in front of them. And then I'd go to my room or go to the woods or go do my thing on my own. Because I guess I thought I couldn't do any better, or I didn't have any other choices. I was telling a friend of mine today that one of the things I think I'm going to do in the church, a program, is for people 17 to 25 to support them to be homeless, like living in a car for a couple months or something. If I'd have known at 18, 19 I could live in a car, that I could do it, my life would have been different. Nobody would have fucked with me. I wouldn't have stayed in a long-term relationship that I hated or wasn't touched or loved or held or wasn't interested in anything that I was interested in. Kind of like sleeping with the enemy, except for we're even sleeping together, right? It's someone that's not really out for your best good, not laughing with you, not playing, not having fun. You really don't have anything in common, and you just stay. And a lot of that is because you're scared you don't, well, where else am I going to go? All right, this is my home. This is my property. This is my life. It's wonderful, right? But if I'd have known at 18, 19, 20 I could live in a car and that I could make it, I'd have fucking left like that. And I'd have been in the car, and then I'd have found my peace and my quiet, and realized that, hey, I can do this, and then rebuilt, and then started my real estate company and everything on my own without all the bullshit. I didn't know. I knew people lived in cars. I knew people lived in the street and in tents, but I didn't know I could do it. I didn't know I ever would do it. I mean, at one point, I was a millionaire. Like, it didn't seem like a thing. But I chose to be touched and to seek a relationship of physical love with someone that really wanted to be with me and spend time with me, really actually liked me. And so I left my mansion on the hill and my complacency and my everything's there for me, but what I really wanted, was my double wide trailer, my redwood dick, and to be touched. So the payoff is too great, and I write about it and I counsel people all the time now. There's absolutely nothing more important than leaving a relationship you're miserable in, because you're creating worlds, and especially if you have children, they feel it. You're laying there miserable, then they're going to lay there miserable in their life. They're not going to think you can go. But if you just be like, I love me more than I love this relationship, which you should always do. I don't know what I was scared of. Like I said, I didn't know I could live in a car. How many times are you going to say that? Listen, shut up. Okay, when your partner tells you, oh, it's okay if you go to the game, I don't mind, or it's okay if you go sing, I don't mind, or you can go out with your friends, I don't mind, that's controlling. That's telling you that I'm giving you permission to do this time. That means they can revoke the permission next time, and that means by letting you know they're okay with it, that lets you know you're not allowed to do things they're not okay with. That's how sociopaths, narcissistic, controlling people work. It happens kind of slowly. You don't notice it at first. I do, and I counsel people on it. But a lot of people don't notice it because it seems benign, right? It's like, oh yeah, I don't mind if you go out with your friends tonight. That's fine with me. The better response would be like, oh yeah, enjoy your evening. Like, we'll talk when we do, whatever. Not, I'm okay if you go. Well, I would expect you to be okay. You're a fucking grown up, and I own my body, and I own my time, and I own my, for your partner to tell you it's okay, that's not sweet and supportive. I had a psychic reading once, and the woman had just fallen in love. And I said, oh, what do you like about your guy or whatever? She's like, oh, I love that he lets me be me. Right? I'm like, So you could be, I didn't say any of this, but I'm saying it to you. I just cringe at that, because it's like, to be with someone else, they liked him a lot because they let me be me. Not like, for me it'd be like, oh my God, she fucking fires me up, man. I love making out with her. I love laughing and having fun and driving around the mountains, and I love dancing and playing. I mean, I'd be like, all the stuff that I love about the person, right? And a lot of heterosexuals are the way this woman are too, but it's like, oh, I just love him so much because he lets me be me. Well, if you were alone, you could be you. You should never enter a relationship where the top tier of, I love this guy so much because he lets me be me. You are you. You're a grown up. You don't need to get in a relationship so someone will let you be you. So, okay. Okay, so it's like the continued version of your parents' home, except for this time it's an adult partner who may or may not withhold sex, affection, laughter, play with you, unless you behave a certain way, unless you be their version of you. So instead of two adults, all hot and heavy and loving each other, all suppressed and it's weird to adult people who have kids. One of them's in control of the other one, and they are bitching and controlling with each other. And also, on this note, kids see that, they feel that, they read the energy. They seek the same type of relationships. That's how they'll view a relationship. Like, oh my gosh, you met somebody? Yes, I'm so in love with her. What do you love about her? Oh, she lets me be me. Not that she's creative and she's gorgeous, and I love her eyes, and I love her sexual energy, and I love the way she makes me laugh, and you can go on and on about things you love, but nope. I love her because she lets me be me. Barf. Okay, it's like, okay. And then it'll keep happening generation after generation. Becomes your parent monogamous relationship and marriage license, and then it's your parents, your police, your relationship partners, you're like policing you, and someone to make you follow society's norms by guilt tripping you. You might want to do some sort of right, so you're in charge, you're responsible for yourself. So find out what you love, your crafts, your gardening, your singing, your writing, your be self-contained. Don't rely on other people to fill you up. And if you do, then, seek it in a lot of different people if you really need to do that. Instead of seek your partner, it's like, God, some people, they just want to smother you. They just want to, what are you doing? What are you doing now? Let's do this. What are we going to do later? What are we going to have for dinner? What are we going to, like someone like me, I love studying. I barely have the time in the day to do all my projects, and I got nothing really pressing, right? And I got no kids, and I got no plants, and I got no home, and I got no relationship. Why'd you say it like that? I got nothing that's really policing me, and I don't want anybody here being like, well, what are you doing now? Well, when are you coming home? Well, when are you going to do this? I want to be grown up, and I want to let me be me. And I want to love her. I want passionate, deep friendship and passionate lover. And all right. If you have to force someone to be with you under duress, why would you want that and call that a relationship? It's like people think they can't have any relationship, or they might have to change something about themselves to date someone else, so they simply comply. they're like, they're all going to be this way. I might as well just settle into this one, and they give up on their passion or expansion. Once you get through that fear and you leave that sort of situation, then you put new things on the menu. You're like new things that you didn't even think you might have liked. When you just give up and you're like, so you can appease someone else, and your whole day is just, I don't want to make my partner upset. Then that becomes your whole life. All right. Okay, it's like, if you have to force someone to be with you under duress, why would you want that and call that a relationship? It's like people think they can't have another relationship, or they might have to change themselves to be with that. It's like the ultimate kidnapping. You're pretending you're someone you're not, so you can get some sort of payoff, and the payoff doesn't even really feel good. Makes no sense. So earlier I was thinking, that needs some editing. Okay, so you can't have a high conscious relationship with yourself and be in a monogamous relationship. Again, remember, when I'm speaking my doctrine, this is what I've come to believe and know is my truth, and it is the main doctrine of my church, because it is me, the founder of the church. I don't speak for anyone who's part of my church or any members of my church. I only speak for me. I did a doctrine, I might upload it into this channel, a doctrine for my church on death, on suicide, on, I think, alternative medicine. I've done some stuff about, I'll probably load those into this channel. So if they're reruns to you, Okay. If you are monogamous with someone, you are constantly censoring yourself. You're constantly thinking, what would my partner think? Even in relationships where you think you're not doing that to some degree, you have to be doing that. You would be thinking about dinner, some sort of bills, so your partner would like you better. I'm not talking about the nice little thoughtful things, but anytime you alter or change your behavior in order to be with someone in a monogamous relationship, you're not being true to yourself. So in other words, you're creating their reality. You're trying to create their version of you, and they are perhaps trying to create the version of themselves that you might want them to be or prefer them to be, and neither one of you are really being your true self. And in order to create new worlds in this new earth, you have to know who you are. You have to be sovereign. Relationships should be fluid. So when you're in the natural flow, when you get in a relationship, say when you're 20 years old, you change every year, every week, every second. You move parallel lives and worlds. But even in one timeline, you change. It's like the marriage license and the church put monogamy on you was some sort of is to stunt your growth. So even though you change and you grow and you get different interests, you're supposed to pretend you're the same person. And a lot of people do grow together, and that's beautiful. But they're malleable, they're fluid. They're like, they know their partner's going to change. They don't expect him to be the same thing. They're not going to police him to be, hey, this is what you said you'd be the first week we met, and you better be that. I know there's people out there, okay, I just said this, we think a lot like me and me. Okay, no more walking on eggshells in your home. To some degree, they'll want to watch TV or have something constantly going on, even if they sneeze or whatever they want to do. They're not naturally going to be themselves. So many couples, one of them will start humming or singing or playing, and they'll do it alone. But when the other one can hear them, they stop. Because it'll disturb them. I've known so many people that love to sing. I mean, I was house sitting recently for a gal, and she said she'd let someone stay there, and she realized that for a couple months that she didn't sing, and she naturally just hum and sing while she's doing the dishes or whatever. But when this person was there, she didn't. And so, and I know people that have been in marriage for decades, and they're like, every time they'd hum or something, their husband would be like. Their husband would be disapproving, right? So then they'd stop. So even if you know you can, it just feels weird. So, why not live alone? Oh, it's so lonely. Yeah, sometimes people think that not being abused every day or going through something traumatic every day is lonely, but it's not lonely. It's called peace. It's just we're not used to it. Several different women that this occurred, they would meet me. I would tell them, for example, I'm not into dogs or cats. This is just an example. Or that I wanted poly or open, and name other things, a certain lifestyle or a certain way. to eat. I would share with them things that I was into, and they would be interested or neutral. And then as you move further into being in a relationship and living in the same house, they would turn to, oh, it's like they had already had it in their mind that they're going to change me. They're like, oh, she says she did. I'm just using dogs as an example, but oh, she says she's not into dogs, but she will. Oh, she says she wants to be poly or open, but you know, I'm going to change that. She's not. She won't want that. She'll just want me. When I first moved to where I'm living now and started dating on Match.com or whatever, several women would do that with me. They would act like they were really interested. They're like, yeah, poly, you know, whatever. Or they would get to know me knowing what I wanted, but have it in their mind they're going to change me. And then when I didn't change, they didn't want to be with me. So they just kind of led me along that they were into that. Okay. Okay, so yeah, once I fell for them, then they thought that I would change my mind. And I've experienced this over decades. I didn't really realize it until later, but and one of the gals, like, she was getting ready to move in with me, or she got a job in the town I'm in, and I kind of stopped it there at the last minute, but I didn't realize it was I keep saying this a lot today, but the frog boiling pot thing, you know, I kind of knew, but she got this tighter and tighter and tighter rein on me, and she would withhold like affection, and she wouldn't like video chat me. She wouldn't, you know, we only lived like 40 minutes away. We didn't video chat. We didn't really get together and be sexual. We didn't meet for movies. It was just this kind of this tied up in the mind of what we're going to do. And then she's just going to move in with me, and I'm going to be monogamous. So I'm not going to be open. I'm not going to be poly, and I'm not going to all of a sudden need all the stuff that she withheld. So if I didn't behave how she thought I would behave, she would pull in, like sexually, emotionally, attention, flirting, but then act like she wanted it. With all in her mind that she was just really trying to manipulate and change me into what she wanted me to be for that future relationship, to be her rock, and to you know, take the garbage out, and you know, just do everything to really to help her and her kids. And it seemed very heterosexual, but you know, whereas like the guy does this and the woman does this. I find it odd that when I meet women that act like men and women. Okay, so a lot of times men and women, the women will be in the kitchen visiting, the guys will be in the garage, right? Some lesbians that way, you know, got the butches and the femmes that hang. Okay, but I've never done that. When I was with women, it's like I'm with them and they're with me, and we're not really, one's the guy, one's the girl, you know, we actually like each other and want to be around each other. Or otherwise, why be with them, right? And so I met this woman, and she was like that. So it was just like I'd seen heterosexual relationships growing up, like. The woman would talk to her other gal friends about me, right? So she was making decisions about us with her. I was used to dating women that we'd make decisions together. We'd visit together. We'd be more like friends, not that I'm the guy and they're talking about me. And then just separated. It was a total separate entity. So we were lovers, and we had certain things, but I can only liken it to what I've known to be heterosexual relationships, which I had never experienced with women. And so when I have met those women, it's like, whoa. It's like, whoa. Anyway, this video is almost over. We'll talk about relationships another day. Okay, so yeah, whatever, poly or open, living in different houses, all of these things, and then, yeah, she thought I would simply get over being me. She thought I would be so into her that I would abandon myself. And I talked about my long-term relationship. And relationships are not about losing people, but you are quantum, feel into the moment. Okay, that'll be for next time. Bye for now.